Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with random reviews from the Overflow room. And today we continue our epic slog through the music of Paul Hindemith, a most underrated and in some respects misunderstood composer who wrote just gallons of really cool music. And we begin today with his piano works, 4 volumes of them, which does that make them virtually complete? I'm not quite sure, with Hans Peterbondel piano on Marco Polo. So let's see what we get, because they really are quite interesting and sometimes like really marvelous. Let's see what's in here. Volume 1. I don't think this is all of them, because I don't think Ludus tonalis was in this series, but I could be wrong. Oh, it is in this series. Okay, good. So we can talk about that. Great. First, Volume 1. Oh, it's got all kinds of little cute thingies. We've got Tanzstücke, Opus 19, dance pieces, and like in einer Nacht, Opus 15, a suite of pieces with a fantastisches Duett zweier Bäume vor dem Finster, a fantastical duet of 2 trees in front of the window. Let's also got Programmmusik, Kuckuck und Uhu. Let's see. Yeah, well, that was a fun thing. That whole suite, it's got all kinds of things. The finale is a double fugue, of course, because Hindemith was a German composer. At the end of the day, everything boiled down to a fugue. Why not? And finally, his 1922 Suite for Piano, which has jazz influences. It's a march, a shimmy, a Nachstück, a Boston, a ragtime, yeah, and like some little pieces too. Little things that you wouldn't know, especially for his earlier works. They're very, very interesting. Then we've got Ludus tonalis from 1942. Studies in counterpoint, tonal organization, and piano playing. Now, does that sound exciting? Well, Ludus tonalis has a very mixed reputation. Some people find it absolutely fascinating, a logical sort of pendant to Bach's Art of Fugue. I'm one of those people, by the way. I think it's fascinating. And others find it dry as dust and completely inexpressive. I don't believe that, but it takes a little getting into. It's organized as 12 fugues mixed with or alternating with interludes that incorporate the material of the fugues to come. It's a very, very well organized and interesting work if you like counterpoint. And again, this is Hans Peterbondel playing. He plays very well. This is Volume 4, and that was Volume 1. Somehow they got mixed up. Okay, it doesn't matter because we're doing them all anyway. So there it is, Ludus tonalis. You should definitely give it some thought if you like Bach's Art of Fugue and that sort of thing. It's really no more didactic than that. Then we've got piano sonatas. There are 3 of them, and they're good works. They're interesting works. They're fun. His piano writing is somewhat similar to like Shostakovich's piano writing. In other words, it's surprisingly not heavy. It's often contrapuntal in only 2 parts, and you know it's more characterful than you might at first think. But they're lovely piano sonatas. And then there's, let's see, variations, which was the original second movement of the first sonata. So it's a little pendant there. And that's 61 minutes of music. So it's a good trip for 3 sonatas. The Ludus tonalis is about, just so you know, is about like 6 weeks long. No, it's not. 57 minutes. It doesn't take forever. It has its charms, both of them. Then we've got, let's see, oh yes, Piano Music Volume 2, Übung in 3 Stücken. That's etudes, Übungen, right? Exercises in three pieces. And then we've got a Ria kleiner Stücken, a little circle of 14 short little ditties, little thingies. And then the Sonata Opus 17, which is from sketches reconstructed by Bernard Billeter. and 2 small piano pieces from 1934. They're less than a minute long each. So that's the piano works. But there's some substantial pieces here. The 3 sonatas, the Ludus, of course, and put these in order now, so not that I couldn't reorganize them if I needed to, but there they are. The sonatas, the Ludus, and a couple suites, a bunch of suites of smaller things. And they're wide-ranging and characterful. So there's that. Then we have 2 operas that we're going to talk about. Well, we have 2 recordings of one opera, Cardillac. Now, Cardillac is a fabulous, fabulous, fabulous opera. It's based on a story by E.T.A. Hoffmann. It's Die Fräulein von Scudieri, I believe is what it was called. The story is wonderful. This comes from, it's the apex of Hindemith's early period. His period of Neue Sachlichkeit, that is the new objectivity, and his absolute music, and the neoclassical, contrapuntal, polytonal thingamajiggies. The story is as follows. It's really very straightforward. Cardillac is a jeweler, and he is a marvelous craftsman, and he's the most famous jeweler of his epoch in whatever town he's in. And his jewels are incredibly in demand, his jewelry, but he is obsessed with the fact that his artworks have their own independent existence, and they are so beautiful and so great that to use them for mere adornment, as women are wont to do, is a gross injustice. And so when someone purchases one of his jewels and gives them as a gift to the female in charge, he is impelled, can't help himself, to murder the person who purchases the jewel and steal it back, so that it has its rights of being great are preserved and not to be debased by being used as mere adornment. This was an artistic manifesto for Hindemith in the 1920s, where he was demanding his artistic independence and the right of musical forms and structures to have their own existence. The interesting thing about Cardillac is that the philosophy it espouses is very similar to what we read in Charles Ives in the prelude to the preface to his 114 songs. I think it's 114 of them, but his song collection, I think it's 114 songs, where he says, some of these songs can't be sung. A song has a right to be a song. It has its right to its own independent existence, whether you can perform it or not. Well, Hindemith, of course, wanted his works to be performed. He later revised Cardillac, and nobody much pays attention to the revision, because the revision was later tempered by his social conscience, his desire to make a rapprochement between the artist and his listeners, and write music that was easier to digest and that had more of a moral backing, because this is an amoral opera if ever there was one. Now, the fun thing about Cardillac is the work it resembles most closely probably is Shostakovich's The Nose. A similar work in that respect. It's a very acerbic. The sonority and orchestration is wind and brass based rather than strings. I mean, it's got strings, but it's not lyrical. There are many closed forms. In other words, the scene where one of the murders takes place between the lady and her boyfriend, they're making love, and the love scene is an invention for 2 flutes, for example, and it seems to have nothing to do with what's going on stage until Cardillac shows up and commits the murder, in which case all hell breaks loose. It's really, really nifty. He has a daughter, and his daughter is in love with the policeman whose job is to find the murderer, the person who is stalking the town, and bring him to justice. I mean, the opening scene is wonderful. It's very busy and contrapuntal, and then all of a sudden the chorus comes in screaming, "Murder!" Great. So there are 2 recordings. Well, there's actually more, but down here in the Overflow room there are 2. There's been another one recently I have to talk about at some point. Joseph Keilberth recorded this with Cologne, the Cologne Radio Symphony Orchestra, with a very, very fine cast. Dietrich Fischer-Dieskau. It was recorded in 1969 Dietrich Fischer-Dieskau, Leonora Kirchstein, Donald Grobe, Carl Christian Kohn, Eberhard Katz, Elisabeth Soderstrom is the woman. Yeah, one of her more unknown recordings, and she's marvelous. And Willy Nett. So it's really, really fine. And Kyle Berth is a wonderful conductor. It's powerful, powerful stuff. This also has excerpts from Matthias der Mahler, conducted by Leopold Ludwig in 1962, with Fischer-Dieskau, Pilar Longjar, and Donald Grobe. Fischer-Dieskau would go on, of course, to record the complete opera. So you should know it. Now, there is a more recent one than that here on Vergo, which is Schott's house label, as I pointed out, the music publisher Schott, who was Hindemith's publisher. And it's got Sigmund Nimsgard, so he's like well known, and Verena Schweitzen, yes, soprano, Robert Schunk, Harold Stamm, Josef Prochka, well, we know him, Gabriela Schnaut, we know her, and Andrea Schmidt. Okay, so these are all well-known people. And this was recorded in 1988. It features Gerd Albrecht and the Berlin Radio Symphony Orchestra with the RAIS Kammerchor, which is a wonderful group. The whole work, by the way, is pretty short. It has three acts, and it lasts, here, 88 minutes, 90 minutes. It's not crazy long. It moves like the wind, and it's just a splendid work. It really is, but it's not easy. It's not an easy piece. It's a fun piece. It really is. So there's that recording. And that, I think, is a good place to pause for this series of random reviews from the Overflow room. Get your Cardillac and have some fun. And keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.